Recording in
pledge
progress.
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, come on in if you want to address council with a public comment. There's some cards out there. Just fill that out and hand it up here. Get you going. All right, moving on to item number 2, agenda approval. Call to order. Yeah, and I am sorry. Clerk, please take the roll.
Member Wood,
Here.
Councilmember Richardson,
Present.
Councilmember Foxton,
Here.
Member Smith, here, Councilmember Hess,
Here.
Councilmember Palmer,
Here.
Councilmember Kaminsky, here, Mayor DePinto.
Here. Thank you. Moving on to agenda approval now. Councilmember Wood,
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda.
your motion.
I would like to amend the agenda and add a discussion under new business on the process to fill vacant position, soon to be vacant position number 4.
Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Hess. Discussion. Councilmember Wood?
I think that I move that we do it in a traditional council simple majority vote to fill that position.
Okay. We can add that to the, under new business. Any other discussion on this? Councilmember Hess?
I just want clarity of what's being moved to new, because it sounded like you made 2 motions. Is the new agenda item that we're going to discuss the process, or the new agenda item is that we're going to have a traditional vote?
I believe he motioned to create the conversation to have a vote on a traditional majority vote. Is that?
I made the motion so we could discuss it with the intent of moving forward on a traditional vote. I was just being clear with my intent on I'd like to have the discussion.
As I said, I'm trying to look for clarity of what's being up on the board.
Yeah, it will be absolutely the discussion. We'll have that going. But as the councilor said, he did state that he would like the traditional vote. We'll be discussing that. But if there's alternate methods that the council wants to bring up or discuss, we can have it during that discussion as well. I think that would be germane to that.
Okay, that's where I got my confusion is, are we having the discussion? Are we supposed to bring up all the ideas at this time? Have it added to the agenda, or is it just straight up on the agenda is we're going to discuss the process?
No, it'll be under the agenda as Councilor Wood described. If you would like it in a different way, you're more than welcome to vote against this and put up a different motion. However, this is the motions on the table now. There will be discussion, and at the end of the day, there will be a full vote of the council on that. Okay. Any other discussion? So you are voting for to discuss filling the vacant council position with the preferred traditional majority vote method. Adding that to item D under new business.
That wasn't the motion that I seconded.
If I may,
Please.
for the purpose of simplicity, I'd like to amend the agenda to add the discussion under new business on the process to fill vacant position number 4, period.
What I'd seconded, so that's what I'm looking for clarity on.
So motion seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay.
Nay.
Motion carries. We'll add that under new business item D. All right. Now we're moving on to special presentations. There's none scheduled. Oh, I'm sorry. Now that we have an amended agenda, let's approve the agenda as amended. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended? Councilmember Hess.
I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
Second by Councilmember Palmer. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. All right, now we have agenda. Moving on to special presentations. There's none scheduled. Moving on to public comment. Is there anyone from the audience who wishes to speak to the council? Is there anyone online?
We do not have any hands raised.
All right, moving on to the consent agenda. We got the January 9th, 2024 and January 23rd, 2024 regular meeting minutes, as well as a December 2023 check register and position summary. Councilor Hess.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Smith. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to new business. New business A, ordinance number 1110, dog park rules. Cody, I believe this is you.
This is me. So with the creation of a new dog park, we need to amend our park rules because currently our park rules do not allow any dogs off leash anywhere, which doesn't birth an off leash dog park. So we have to add a subsection, and it's in your notes, a subsection that allows off leash dogs in designated areas, and then another subsection to the very end of the park code that allows us to create rules specifically for the dog park. Those will come in a later meeting. They don't need to be approved by council once we've approved this, but it'll create dog park signs with like no biting. If your dog has disease, don't bring your dog here, stuff like that. That'll be more defined out, but the rules itself need to be established in the park rules to give us that baseline to be able to create rules for the park that can be enforceable. I'm happy to answer any questions about the ordinance or if there's any questions about dog park.
No, Councilmember Hess.
I move to approve ordinance number 1110, amending chapter 9.68 and adding the off-leash dog park rules to the Yelm Municipal Code to be defined later.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Palmer. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to item B, public service contract with CHG Building System Incorporated. Cody.
Yes, so before you, if you remember, in this budget, we had budgeted to purchase and build a vehicle storage building. We finally have the building delivered, and now we need to have the contract to construct that building approved. This is budgeted. It's within our budget. It's a little under our budget, but this will construct the building and all the steel that was delivered to our premises about 2 weeks ago. And the plan timeline for this is pretty quick. It's just constructing all that and putting all the steel together, putting the roof on. So we're expecting this to be done by midsummer. And I'm happy to answer any questions about this and going about the process. Yeah.
Councilmember Wood.
Sounds like we've got our ducks in a row on that and it came in under budget. I move we authorize Mayor Joe DePinto to sign the public services contract with CHG Building Systems Incorporated in the not to exceed amount of $168,511.13 for the construction of a 10,400 square foot steel vehicle storage building located at the Yelm Water Reclamation Facility.
Second by Councilmember Hess. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to item C, public services contract with Sphere Solar. Cody again.
Yeah, so the last contract before you, we talked about this quite a bit. And this is the solar contract. We finally got everything worked out with Sphere, with the help of our solar partner, who is in the audience. So I want to mention that, Mason. He's been a big help for us with Olympia. And so I just want to, this has been great. We've got a grant to pay for everything along with a reimbursement now that the Inflation Act has allowed cities to claim that same reimbursement that homeowners can. So this project comes at zero cost to the city in the end. It's going on the community center, and this will provide solar and battery backup. The battery backup is in case there ever is a major power failure. Now the community center can serve, thrive and keep being used for emergency services or other things for multiple days. And if there's sunlight, even longer. So it's just a really cool project to be able to do and provide a space that we can use as an emergency center if needed or other options. And it comes at zero cost to the city and will actually save us money over time because we now won't have to pay a power bill. So.
Let's go with Councilmember Kaminsky.
Cody, does that include power to the stage?
No, the community center is on a different power system than the stage. So it does include the community center and the lights out in the parking lot though. Those parking lot lights are included in that power.
Councilmember Crossman. Councilmember Hess.
Director Cole, question in reference to, you say it will cost nothing. But yet the research that I've looked into it is that there still is a fee that still needs to be paid to the electric company. It's a very small fee, but there's still, it's the connection fee to make sure that in case as a backup thing, or we've taken the community center completely off the grid.
So it'll still be piped into PSC, so that's how you get your credit. Where they're theoretically buying power from us or crediting power from us, and we're getting that credit back. The batteries can store power too. So if there's a major power failure, that solar can charge the batteries as well. This is it. This includes everything. There's no outside fees of this we would have to pay.
Councilor Palmer, did you have a question still?
Oh, no, I was gonna motion, so I'll let them finish.
Councilor Crossman?
How much power does that generate?
Oh, gosh, the kilowatts for it. Do you know about the top of your head, Mason?
Let me just compare it to your existing consumption of the building. It's about 98% of what your building uses over the course of the year. Remember, Hess, the building will still have to pay your connection fee, which is the cost of being connected to PSE. And it's usually about $50 a month.
Okay.
But all the demand related charges, like the kilowatt hour charges, are reduced by solar.
Okay.
Does that answer your question? In other terms, it's about 4 homes worth of power, about 37,000 kilowatt hours.
Yeah, that's what I was, more of the amount of power it generates for a whole lot of money.
A solar installer designs the system to offset what the building uses, and in this case, there was enough roof space to offset almost all of the consumption.
Councilor Wood?
A couple of questions. First question, I hear what you're saying. I'm curious about, I think what they're asking is you're saying there's a monthly fee to being hooked in with Puget Sound Energy. And we are
already.
correct. And we are collecting power with the ability to store it. But once we reach maximum storage capacity, with the residential, I understand the Puget Sound Energy is required to purchase that power back. Now, in that aspect, does that apply to us as well? So that offsets the cost of what that initial fee is.
My favorite question ever. Yeah, so that transaction is called net metering, and the same rules that apply to residences apply to this project. So most of the time when the solar generates power, it's just used by the building. But in those really nice hot summer days when maybe the building's not being used, the extra energy will overflow into the grid. And the utility will just track that, and for every, say, kilowatt hour or dollar worth of energy you put back into the grid, you get a credit for that against a future power purchase.
Excellent. I'm curious where Sphere Solar is based out of and how long they've been in business.
They're a Seattle-based company, and I believe they've been in business about 11 years. When we were going out to find a contractor, we did a competitive process, and I think we got 3 proposals, and Cody and our team worked together to select Sphere. Cheers. I've got card for you all too.
Any further questions? Councilman Palmer, is this your first motion?
Yeah, I believe so. I know, big day.
What's going
I motion to authorize Mayor Joe DePinto to sign the public services contract with Sphere Solar in the not to exceed amount of $316,800, including Washington State sales tax for the equipment, materials, and installation of the Yelm Community Center solar and battery backup system.
Second. Move it to Councilor Smith. Just a
Last second.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. All right, moving on to item D, thank you. Moving on to item D, filling this vacant council position. The discussion is on the process. Councilor Wood, your motion, why don't you go ahead and state yours?
I believe that the process is tried and true that we've used. I think that the ranked voting creates a lot of confusion, and I don't believe we end up with the best candidate. From my experience is using that method. So that's why I suggest we use the traditional tried and true method.
Councilor Hess?
The only issue I have with the traditional tried and true is whoever gets their hand up first, that's the person that's nominated. And if that's the person that it just doesn't, it's not appropriate. And in reference to the confusion, I guess I'm just lost on what the confusion is on you put your choices in order and it works out. And I thought that it worked great for us to get wonderful candidates last time. And we got some good fill-ins with it last time.
Only Councilor Wood respond and then Councilor Cross.
Well, my understanding is the councilman has only picked one candidate in his picking. That's what I was led to believe. And that is, of course, a problem if we're trying to use ranked voting and not everybody's, using it properly.
Gonna go Councilmember Crossman.
Define your tried and true method, like, because not everyone knows what that is. So how do you see this going, this vote going? Like, what do you mean by that?
Well, I believe that we all should have an opportunity to make our choice down the line, and then vote on those choices, and then narrow it down, and with the highest voters, and then vote on those, narrowing it down rather than second and third and fourth place, kind of convoluting the whole process into where somebody who may be, as I said, the best candidate overlooked because there were more votes for third place. Everybody agreed on third place, more so than they agreed on the best candidate for the job.
Gonna go to Council Richardson and then Hess.
I know there's moments like that as well, but what's to remember as well is we do have, in those moments, we have executive session, which is right where we can meet in private and discuss the candidates and qualifications. And well, that's right. And then also, so there's those two things, either way we do them. I do have a lot of faith in the ranked choice voting. As long as we follow the structure that we're supposed to follow and actually giving each candidate a number vote so it works properly. So I do have some hope in that. And I think it did allow us to give our, we might not have got our first choice, but maybe we got our second choice across the board. And that's what it's designed for. Nothing to talk that down. I do understand that can be an option, as long as there's an executive session to discuss those things, so that we're actually doing that in a different way. We're just having conversation about who we think we should generally pick overall. Sometimes, though, I think it's hard to discuss these things, and that's why ranked choice voting is an option. I think it's proven itself, and I know some people aren't totally for it, but I think it worked well for us, and I encourage that we try it again, but just time to use it properly.
We'll go to Hess, but before that, I just want to remind council that when we go into executive session, we do not make decisions. We just talk about the qualifications. We don't try to pull who's going to vote for who or any of that. Councilor Hess.
In reference to the statement of that you get your third, that we get the third choice of everybody, which that's not true. The way that works is that was a majority of people's first choice. And second, how ranked choice voting works is the first iteration's done and the lowest number gets knocked off. In other words, the one who gets the least amount is knocked off. If there's no clear majority, it goes down to the second one, which means that if three of us have the same number one, and the other three have different number ones, then it goes down to looking at those three, their number two choices, until we get that majority. So we're not saying that ranked choice is not the first one. Nope, nobody chose that, so we're going to everybody's number three. That's not how it works. It brings up the thing. So if somebody's number two is all of a sudden now put into the number one position because their number one was not enough to stay and it got knocked off, it's their number two. And if it drops down to number three for somebody else, it was their number three choice. But we still had people with their number one choice there.
Councilmember Palmer.
And then, it works that way in some instances, but we did some case studies on this in some of my different sociology classes and stuff. And a lot of times it does end up being your third and fourth choice. And we did a bunch of tests and iterations. And typically with choice voting, you don't end up with who you would get in a traditional voting sense. So I don't like ranked choice voting.
Councilor Wood, then Kaminsky, then Crossman.
Based off of the explanation, if we have 3 council members that vote for one person and 3 council members that vote for another, well, but everybody voted for the third person on the same level. Well, that third person's going to get the vote, they're going to get appointed, and that isn't putting our best foot forward. If three council members think one person is the best and 3 think the second is, but everybody thinks the third is third best gets appointed. The first 2 choices on either side of the council that voted on that are being pushed out because
that is incorrect.
Let's wait to be called on. Councilor Kaminsky.
I'm just trying to remember the process. When we ranked voting, nobody put up their hand and said, I nominate so-and-so. So why can't we have 5 candidates in front of us and do a traditional vote? Would that not work?
Councilmember Crossman?
Couple things to that point, so based on last week's discussion, we can't we can't narrow it down. That's, what we said, we can't just vote and then vote again, right? We can't have like a primary per se. So we can't do it that way. And like Kaminsky says, you know, if everyone votes, and like Brian brought the point up, which I agree with him, was we could have 1, 1, 1, 1, and then 2, and then that's still not a majority, you know, per se. You know, if we have, you know, a dozen people out here, that could be a odd situation as well, and kind of put us in the same boat, getting choice voting, not getting a majority, we're just getting an odd share. So an idea I had, and I emailed Kathy to make sure to see if we could do this, was we can nominate, basically, I'll make our primary by, somebody can make a motion to narrow it down to 2 people, and we can vote on those 2 people. So that could be an option we can do it. So, you know, like we could say, okay, I nominate Jim and Bob, and let's vote between those 2 people, and then we vote. That way we have a selection of 2.
What if I
Just
don't?
hold on, just to clarify, you want to suggest that we vote for a top 2, your 2 picks. So you would vote for 2 people, and up or down vote on 2 people, and then vote from there.
Like for instance, you know, I would motion
Yeah,
A and B.
Valley to be.
Yeah, A and B, that we vote on A and B. And then we second, you vote, yes, I approve that motion. And then we vote on A or B from there. If it passes, yeah, if it passes, right. And then that way, if we can narrow it down and so get a majority share.
Councilmember Kaminsky, then
So
Richardson.
if I want C and D, then I just vote no for A and B.
Right.
It just seems like you go in rounds, the same ranked way, but in a traditional way.
Richardson.
Explain it.
I'm interested to maybe entertain Crossman's suggestion, because I think what comes down to some of these things is we already know, I think realistically, our top 2. Whether or not we keep that internal or share with everybody, we kind of already know, well, here's my top 2. So that's not a bad notion. Yeah, it's interesting.
Councilor Smith?
I just wanted to say, I mean, I'm not going to be a part of this, but if you were to go ranked choice voting, everybody has to agree to rank every single person.
Agreed.
That's all I'm going to say.
Agreed. Councilor Crossman?
And sometimes, and that's the problem I have with ranked choice 2, is because, you know, if we have 2 options, you know, I have my option 1, I have my option 2, but then it goes down, like you're saying, the option 3, well, if I had the option going for number 2, I wanted to go number 2 is my number 1. And I would place those ranks differently once it got mixed up. That's I'm gonna see with ranked choices, like I would change my vote based on how that ranking went. Like, okay, well, that person got knocked off, I would choose differently. That ranking would be different.
So I think it would be a moot point if there's only 2 applicants. That way you can just do a, you know, up and down vote.
Right.
But if there's multiple, that's when the ranked choice voting is more attractive. Councilor Hess.
So to address Councilmember Crossman's example, so what you're telling me is that if we have 5 candidates and you rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and your number 1 wasn't chosen, your number 2 is really not your number 2, your number 3, 4, 5 could have become your number 2. So in other words, you're basing it upon what other people happen to be instead of am I understanding that correctly? That you would change that up based upon who your number 1 not getting there and whoever's left to vote?
So if I may, from what I'm understanding, if it's still the top 2 that we're referring to, you would select, just like a normal motion, majority motion would be, I select A and B to be the top. There's 4, let's say. I choose A and B to be the top 2. Is there a second? You get a second, you would vote on that. Be the top 2.
I understood that, but he commented if we went with ranked choice and his number 1 was not part of that ranked choice element and was getting knocked off, he would want to go back and relook at his 2, 3, 4, 5 to reorder them, which I don't quite understand. That was your order. That's how you took your priority.
I didn't get that from him, but go ahead, Councilor Crossman.
Like you go for get eyeglasses and like 1, 2, and then they switch 1 or 2, and you switch 1 or 2. And you keep doing that till you're narrowed down to like, okay, this is the choice. Ranked choice don't get that. You don't get to switch it up as you go. And there's a lot of decisions, like in my line of business, sometimes I do that in work. Like, well, do you like option 1 or option 2? Okay, well, now do you like option 1 or option 2? It's not like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because it will vary. It will change. When you have more options, your opinion changes as those options get mixed up. And then so that's a problem with like ranked choice. Like, okay, well, I would change it. If my option 1 got knocked off, I only had between these 2 to choose from, well, I would be different. It's not necessarily my rank order. It's just you're changing the dynamics of what you vote on. So it changes. It's very fluid.
Counselor Wood.
I think this is a pretty good example of the confusion of ranked choice voting.
I don't want to, I'm not really going to hit one way or the other here, but if we do ranked choice voting, as we did in the past, I am confident, as in the past, although, and I'm going to point out, Councilmember Hess didn't vote for every single person. He didn't fill out every one. In the future, it didn't impact the vote on that one because it didn't go far enough, so it didn't really matter. But should it have gone 3 or 4 rounds, it would have impacted. If we do move forward, everyone has to follow the same set of rules. I didn't catch that at the time, but luckily it didn't matter either way. Councilmember Richardson.
Just trying to find the origin of all this. Was it Councilmember James Blair that proposed ranked choice voting? Was he the one?
I mean, we proposed it a long time ago. I know myself.
Because I think it was him. I'm not entirely sure, but I remember. And I'm not just throwing it out there.
Most recently, I'm not sure.
Because, yeah, okay. Just putting that out there because it was proposed by a council member, I believe.
Can't we have a list of 4 names and everybody just vote on their favorite person? And then if there's no consensus, you vote again, type thing, without nominating somebody. Because you don't nominate people for the ranked choice.
Councilor Smith and Hess.
I'm pretty sure when I was appointed, it was just names. James started, he gave a name. The next person gave a name on the council. There were 2 votes for that person. Then if I recall, the next 4 were my name. And so it was that simple. When I say that simple, it wasn't, I nominate, if I recall, it was just, they happened to say a name, somebody else said a name, then 4 people said my name, so I won. I mean, that's.
Yes, that could be another possible way forward. If council wants to move to do that, we could absolutely go down the line and just say your favorite vote, your top choice. And if that person receives a majority vote, they would become even if we couldn't, we'd have to go through that process again, or we wouldn't be able to fill at that point. Go to Councilmember Crossman.
How about we wait and see how many applicants we actually get? Because we're basing this on, we might get 6 or 12, but we only get 2 or 3. And that would be a lot simpler. Like, if we only had 2 or 3 people to vote for, we just vote up and down, right?
I would prefer that the council choose a method.
If we had a dozen,
You could have
we can't choose up and down for a dozen. Okay.
you could do it in a way where if there's less than or more than.
What if can we make it where we have to have the majority of council to approve that position? So it has to be be 6. So it has to be, it'll have to be
Still, yeah.
Yeah, a 4-2 vote. Because I don't want, like I said, I want 6 people, we each get 1 vote. Well, then that's not.
Well, if it is a 3-3 vote or if it's a tie.
No, I'm saying what if it's 1-1-1-1 all the way across the board? And you break the tie, that's 2-1, and that's not a good representation, I don't think.
I don't know if in that situation, if there was a single vote for everyone.
So can we
Maybe.
do where we have to have a majority of the council has to approve it? The person.
Or they vote, you have to come to a majority. I mean, so you would have to re-vote. I mean, whatever you do, you
Yeah.
have to come
No,
to
what I'm saying, I just,
council
Or it can come to a tie and I could break the tie.
yes,
Mhm.
yes.
It's a 3-3
But
tie.
then that would.
But I don't know if it's a 1-1-1. I don't know if it would apply for that.
that's what I'm saying, like if it's 1-1-1-2 or something.
No, it still has to require at least 3 votes to at least have the council.
Okay,
So.
okay, because Councilmember Hassett brought that up, I thought it was a good point. Okay, so it won't be 1-1-1-1-1-2.
Yeah, we will ask our attorney just to make sure, but I believe it would have to be at least 3 to make it a tie-breaking vote.
Okay,
4 would be the majority.
let's do that.
Councilman Richardson.
From my understanding too, as far as tie breaking goes, I believe that ranked choice voting very seldomly ends up in a tie.
That is correct. Councilman Hess.
And what I'm hearing from some people, like what Councilmember Kaminsky said and a few others, you're basically describing ranked choice voting in the sense of everybody votes the first one, and if there is no clear winner, then we do another revote. Because I'm wondering if, we have to define what we mean by a revote, that if we go through, how do you decide who to knock off? Because, I mean, get me wrong, but if we're sitting here in a 2-2-2 situation, now and it's like, well, I'm not going to change my vote. We're going to go right back to the 2-2-2, and it's going to constantly be 2-2-2-2-2-2 until somebody speaks up and says, hey, here's the difference between these two. And, this is why I'm choosing this person. And then now we're trying to work that compromise. Ranked choice voting, it works well for a lot of situations. For this one, I think it does work well because it brings consensus. Everybody brought in who they wanted, and it worked because the only way that somebody can still stay up on top is if a majority kept them there. The only one that's being knocked off is the one who only received 1 vote or received 2 votes, and that's the only one that got knocked off.
All right, I'm hearing about 3 different types of votes that the council wants to do. One is a simple majority. Second is a top 2, and then a second round of voting to determine the top or the selection, and then ranked choice voting, as we did in the last 2 or 3. If there's any others, am I getting that about? So those about the top 3. So with those 3 in mind, I would take a motion for one of those. Councilmember Hess.
I move that we once again utilize the ranked choice voting system to choose the appointment for position 4.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Councilmember Richardson. All right. More discussion on this ranked choice voting now. Is there any other discussion, or Councilmember Wood?
I'd just like to add, remind the council that based off of the information we're given by somebody who actually studied this process, it's a flawed process. I think it's a bad choice.
Any other discussion?
Are you going to roll
Councilor
call
Kaminsky.
this motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Just do a verbal. Any further discussion? All right, so a yes vote would be for ranked choice voting, a nay vote would be for not. All right, starting with Councilmember Wood.
Yay.
Councilor Richardson.
Yay.
Councilor Crossman.
No.
Councilmember Smith.
No.
Councilmember Hess.
Yes.
Councilmember Palmer.
No.
Councilmember Kaminsky.
No.
Motion fails. All right, there's 2 other options that it seems that we're debating: simple majority and the top 2. Councilor Wood.
I believe Councilmember Kaminsky was ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I motion we do a simple majority vote.
Second.
Okay, so motion second that we have a simple majority. You got that? Is there any further discussion on this topic? Councilmember Hess.
I want the definition of a simple majority, because a simple majority is there are 6 people voting and 4 of them are completely different, and 2 of them, that is a simple majority.
4 votes. Is that,
Then why the tiebreaker with if we have 3-3?
that's what would happen if it's a,
Then that's not a simple majority. Because it could be 2-2-2, it's a tie vote.
per the RCWs, if there's not a majority vote and it's a tie vote, I am allowed as mayor to make that deciding vote.
And a 2-2-2 is a tie vote. a 1-1-1-1-1-1 all the way across the line.
It's not a 3-3 vote. It has to be a tie of the quorum, if the quorum present. So which this would be 6. So 3 would be a tie. A 3-3 vote would be a tie. I would make a tie-breaking vote at that if it was 3 votes.
Okay, so then if 3 people choose one person and the other 3 don't choose that person, then it's a simple majority of 3 is going to choose who sits in the seat. Is that correct? So basically what you're saying is the simple majority is at least a minimum of half the quorum?
No, it has to be 4.
Majority. If there's 6 voters, you have to have 4 to
It's
be.
just like everything else you vote.
I understand that, but what he just said was if it's a 3-3,
I see what you're saying.
1, 2, 3 votes for person A, person B, person C, person D, 3 wins because
That's not a tie vote, though. That's
not a tie vote, but it's a majority.
it's not a majority. 4 would be.
What happens if we keep staying like that the whole time? In other words, everybody digs their heels in, and that's exactly where we stay. 3 to 1, 1,
Then we wouldn't have a
3 to 1.
decision. We wouldn't have a decision.
It'd be a long night.
It would be a really long night.
Councilor Wood, then Crossman.
I would say that that's a worst possible scenario and it could possibly happen, but I think you're kind of putting the cart ahead of the horse and creating a situation that the odds are likely that we're not going to be faced with that.
If I'm reading this right, and correct me, council members, if I'm not getting it, you're going to be nominating one person, let's say council member or applicant A. Applicant A would do a up and down vote. No, that's not how you would do it.
That's not what I understood.
No, it was like, so if I may,
Jim, please.
what I was thinking, when I was appointed, it was simply, we all gave our presentations. The mayor started at one end. I think he started with James Blair. James Blair said a specific name, not me. Next person said a specific name, not me. They didn't nominate. Then the next 4 people happened to say my name. It wasn't a nomination. It was, okay, you got 4. That's a majority. So it wasn't, I don't know. That's how it
A
was.
simple majority vote says as voting requirement of more than half of all votes cast. That's the definition. So it's a simple majority vote is a majority of the votes cast.
Okay, but you do want to do this where we just go down the line with your candidate.
That's the way I understood it presented.
What I just said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which it said, we're just voting on everybody that shows up.
As long as the person who made the motion, areas, or Councilmember Kaminsky is fine with that. And the second is
I'm good with that.
understanding of that. We all understanding then we would go down the line, you would put your,
First choice.
no, you would just put one choice.
Just one choice.
And if that person gets a majority, it would become the next council member. We will ask our legal if I make that breaking tie in that 3rd vote. If it's 3 up, and then 3 other selection. Councilor Hess.
So I just trying to get clarification. If we all say who we want, just as it was described, and there is no clear winner, and we vote again, and it's straight down the line, the exact same thing, we keep staying like that. I mean, yeah, we could be here till 2:00 in the morning.
No, I wouldn't let that happen. We just end the meeting. It would probably be 90 days. 90 days since whenever, or after tonight.
Right.
And if we can't make a decision by council, then it'll be kicked over to the county commissioners. They have, I think it's 90 days. They can't do it, then the governor would make that decision. Councilmember Crossman.
So if Brian's worst case scenario happens, couldn't one of us make a motion to change it up?
To change the
To
vote.
change how we vote process that night? So it won't go on forever and we can get it done? Right, that's within our purview, yeah. So see, we have a solution for your problem.
Before the vote, can we clarify the motion for the record, please?
Here, do you want Councilmember Kaminsky to?
Yeah, if we could I just want to make sure that I have it correct for the record.
I made the motion that we have a simple majority vote. Is that the way you described it in your note there? We'll go with simple majority?
Be by name.
You will choose a candidate based off simple majority.
I'm stick with my second.
Yeah, I think that's fine, simple majority, and then they agreed on the process to go up and down, one vote all the way through. All right, we're all clear on the vote here. So if this passes, motion by Councilmember Kaminsky, we would do a simple majority vote, we would go down the line, and you would all name one person as the one applicant. That person has to receive 4 to make it a majority. We're gonna check if it's 3, if I have a tie-breaking vote or not. Otherwise, you gotta revote until it's final. Councilmember
I
Kaminsky,
know that the mayor broke the tie several times.
we did
Before, yeah.
every time that I was on council, yeah.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it is what it is. Everyone understand? Okay, let's do a roll call vote on this. Councilmember Kaminsky, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilor Palmer,
Yes.
Councilmember Hess.
No.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Crossman,
Yes.
Councilmember Richardson,
I think I can work with you crazy people, yes.
Councilmember Wood.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, we now have a process. Thank you, Ken. We got there. All right, moving on to old business, none scheduled. Moving on to standing council committee reports, starting with Public Safety Committee.
We had our meeting February 6th. The chief briefed us on the Yelm 101 that there's fine tuning still going on, that they're working on getting that presentation put together. Looking forward to seeing what that looks like. He also discussed the officer wellness program coming from Lexipol. They're looking for a coordinator and the chaplain and working with city staff. They're working on trying to put that together. And it sounds like it's going to be a great program to help the officers maintain their mental health through the various things that they encounter. He also talked about the flock system, which is a camera system that will be put around the community. It will just take a still photo of vehicles, and it's for alerts or crime or something like that that's going on. The alerts could also be a gray or the old person, I forget, gray alert, silver alert, and things like that. It would not be used for evidence gathering to be used in court. It's a photo only, not a motion video. There's a human interface, so there's no AI involved, which means there's going to be a human that looks at it and says, yes, that's the vehicle that was described and it came through the point. And to be able to even look at the photos, there needs to be a case number for that. The cost is about $3,000 per camera per year, and it's a company managed system. It's not us managing it. So it'll be a very interesting discussion to have in the future on that. We have 2 new officers. One is a lateral from out of state, and they're waiting on their date to attend court, their update course. And then we have an entry level one, which July 1st is when he will be going to the academy. From the fire department, the update from there was that the body camera from one of the Yelm police officers was very helpful with trying to determine what caused the fire. And so hopefully we can have that used more often when we're doing the investigations. Also, Thurston County will be providing for free CPR training. And then we have a lot of, we start looking at as a city council, because we are geographically isolated. So we only have one fire engine. And if that one is off on a call, the next one is coming from Lacey or Olympia or Tumwater or somewhere else. So it adds, and as our city grows and as we have been briefed earlier, that we're looking at going from 10 to 30,000 in about a 20-year period. We really need to start considering how are we going to backfill that fire department so that homeowners insurance and other insurance does not all of a sudden skyrocket because it doesn't have the capability. We also, they are working on the water flow, working with Public Works to make sure that our water flow is appropriate for the fighting fires. Additionally, was brought up about sprinkler systems for the houses for the houses themselves, there's a few cities out there that have made it part of their code, their building code, that all new residents have sprinkler systems. And for the minimal cost of installing the sprinkler system, it actually could help out with the saving of a building as well as saving of lives. The fire department point of contact is going to look into that and see about maybe bringing a briefing to us to let us know on that one. Emergency management, the comprehensive plan is being worked on. We're also looking at the meeting is going to be held at the Yelm Community Center. That'll be March 26th and 27th. There will be also an executive seminar on February 28th at the EOC from 1700 to 1900. And it appears that we have good officers that are being very proactive and helping with maintaining the safety of our community and helping with, even though it may look like there's more crime, it's being reported. It's because they're being more active on trying to intercede prior to it becoming worse. And that's all I have.
Thank you for the very detailed report. Moving on to Public Services Committee.
2 weeks.
All right, moving on to Finance Committee.
At my first meeting today, Stephanie is going to be bringing to the study session, wants to get a new cloud-based budgeting software. It's called ClearGov, because she was explaining that right now, each department has this Excel spreadsheet that they work on. She dumps them into the current software, then she has to export it to Word, then she has to export it to a PDF. And this new cloud-based would it would tie it all together. Everybody could work in the same program. It will also, I think the biggest takeaway I got, that it will, instead of her having to create this PDF, put it out on the city website, and if a citizen went to search something, they just have to page through all the pages. This will dump it into a very user-friendly thing on the city website, so people can look at the budget. So she's going to be bringing that to the study session.
Councilman Crossman have a question?
No, 365.
No, that's IT. Gosh, get away from your Apple products.
That's what 365 is supposed to be working on. We're
Yeah.
spending $40,000 a year. We still need more software.
Anything else from the Finance Committee?
Yeah.
All right, moving on to Mayor City Administrative Staff reports. Todd, you want to go first?
I just have a couple. Councilmember has hit on a few with the police. They had two new hires, one lateral, one entry. The lateral will start the academy. It's a 2-week academy for lateral officers. So start that next month.
This question in regards to that. So how many officers does that bring us to?
19 total.
We're budgeting for 19.
Somebody asked, I think we have 18, so I was close.
19. And these are filling vacancies, departures and retirement. So, and then the entry-level academy, or for the entry-level academy, for the entry officer, they're looking about a June, July timeframe, but they're hoping to get that bumped up. They're on a list to get that bumped up as other ones cancel out. So they're hoping to get him a little earlier. They started their first ever joint training with Nisqually Tribal Police last week. It was last Friday. I was on legislative updates. This is a brand new thing that they're working with the tribal police on to build relationships. And the most important is Nisqually Tribal Police is our closest backup. And vice versa. So it's kind of important we're on the same page when we're doing things together. So this was very successful, and they packed our training room over there with multiple officers for the day. So there'll be many more trainings like that to come. On the Public Services Department, obviously Cody's here, but I can touch on a few things. Southeast Reservoir construction will start early April. So we're almost good to go there. The trail has been paved all the way to the bridge, so you can walk down there now and see that. Irrigation for the dog park is the last piece, and we could be done as we speak. Might be done with it right now. And then the only last remaining item on the stage is PSE has to move the power. Other than that, it's completely done. It's just about moving the power. So we're at the mercy of PSE to make that happen. So.
Yeah. Curious on the bike trail, down there to the bridge. As you go down that thing along the, I guess you guys are going between the Pines access in that caged area and the Nisqually Land Trust off to the right. There is some barbed wire fencing runs along that. Are we gonna put up any sort of protection? Because if somebody, say, riding along, looking around, goes off of that, the last thing they're gonna hit before they get to the bottom of that is that rusted old barbed wire fence from 1937.
That's the lookout area. So there's like two bump outs. I don't know if you've been down there since we paved it.
Yep, not since you paved, it,
Okay.
but the concrete was
Yeah,
there.
there's two bump outs there and that'll be the viewing area. So it'll be kind of a slower area anyway. So hopefully that won't happen because the barbed wire is from the land trust land to kind of prevent out, and vice versa. There's now a chain link fence that Pines is put up to prevent people from entering the Pines.
Right, and I understand that, and that's, I get that, but like I said, it seems like we might be fit for the liability there. Granted, it is I guess the responsibility of the land trust. However, it still, if somebody comes off of our trail, loses their whatever, for whatever reason, loses control. And I mean, there's no way to stop once you're going down. It literally is at the bottom of the embankment. So it would be what would stop you.
Yeah, I'll check. I know what you're talking about. I'll check with Brent too and just make sure, because I know there's several parts of Thurston County Trail that are like total drop off. So I wonder what kind of liability. Yeah, that's a good question. I'll check.
Any questions for Tom or Cody? Is that it? All right. For me, I gave the state of the city today at the Yelm Chamber. We'll be talking more about the 640 acres over the next few months, getting the RFP out soon. We'll create a work group. We'll likely include Councilor Crossman as the mayor pro tem on that. So we choose RFP. And of course, there'll be a council vote after, for the actual vote. Toured an adult family home today inside Yelm. It's our first one in Yelm, right by Safeway. It was a nice facility. They're looking to expand. Question?
What is that? Explain that. Sorry, you said a home. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
Rosemont. I'm like,
So
it's different than Rosemont. Okay.
yeah, yes. It's not a senior, like assisted living in that sense. There's adults over 21 that have either a developmental disability, Alzheimer's. There's a lot of different things that they could have that they need assistance with. And they have two on, I don't know if they're nurses, but assistants that live there as well and take care of these folks. And yeah, it's a good little, it looked like a very nice home, well kept, clean, professional. So yeah, it's excited to see it, and they're looking to extend. So I know they put in a pre-sub, I think, to planning, and they're working with them on that. So looking forward to that. Having a community conversation tomorrow at noon, Mom Pause. And is it next week or the following week? We're meeting with Congressman Strickland.
26th.
26th. Congressman Strickland is coming out to visit and tour the WRF. So excited to see her. Other than that, that's all I've got. Councilmember reports, starting with Councilmember Wood.
I did not attend any outside meetings, but I did have some information. The TCOM is desperately hiring some people. So anybody out there that's interested in working for a really good corporate, really good company, it's a fantastic opportunity.
Councilor Richardson.
Went to hosted the forum today with the chamber. Really grateful that the mayor came and spoke at that. Very good community, just working together. I really enjoy what everybody's doing over there. So thanks for all the support there as well. And just really want to say I appreciate Holly for her time here on City Council, and we will miss you. We will miss you. So, but yes, thank you for your time.
Councilor Crossman.
So I did tour the trail at Old Dark 30 the other day. It was very nice, even though I couldn't see anything because it was Old Dark 30. So looking forward to when that is finished, I can see the features. I'll walk in the daytime when that happens. Steady meeting is this Friday at Lucky Eagle Casino. I will be out of town, so hopefully Cody will represent us well because he likes to go those. And then Holly, thank you for your service. I made you a gift.
Yeah, I know. I saw. Thank you. I love
It's
it.
a cell phone holder, if you guys know. Anyway, since they made the other council people had to make her something too.
Had to.
Had to. It's I started a tradition. I gotta keep
Yeah,
it up.
there you
So,
go. Yeah.
but we'll miss you. And thank you.
Councilor Smith.
I attended the safety and then finance. And yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. I'm not gonna cry, but just, it's just been about 4 years because I was appointed in 21 and I've really appreciated it. I've appreciated working with all of you and, you know, just something that Joe said last week about, you know, we take our yays and our nays very seriously. And I know I always have. Don't always agree with everybody. That's okay. But always try to set aside, you know, your own, for anybody out there listening that you're going to run for this, you really have to have thick skin and just really put yourself for what's best for the city. So, thank you.
Thank you for your service, Holly.
Thank you.
Councilor Hess,
No meetings, we're done.
Councilor Palmer.
I was at the Regional Housing Council and interesting meeting, my first one. Found out we've spent about $18 million in the last 2 years on rehousing the homeless. So it's like the Days Inn Hotel down there in Hawks Prairie and a few other locations. So that was kind of an enlightening meeting. And they're looking for a new, let's see here, new fund. They got new funds for a cold weather shelter. So they're looking for people to apply to be a cold weather shelter for November 1st to April 30th, if anybody has that kind of capacity. And then I also attended the solid waste advisory. They're working on out there at the landfill, the Hawks Prairie transfer station. They're working on a 25-acre, solar panel installation. So that should, I don't know if you're part of that or not. But yeah, so they're working on putting 25 acres of solar panels out there to help reduce the cost of electricity in Thurston County and help with our different needs. And all the capital facility upgrades are about completed. They got a few more, but it's been doing a big renovation out there. That's all.
All right, thank you. Councilor Kaminsky.
I also attended the chamber lunch and I thought you put your report, your update really well together. And sometimes we're all fragmented in all the things that we do, but in a big picture, I think it was presented really well, all the things that the city is doing for the people that are not aware of it. So I enjoyed that. And thank you, Tracy, for hosting that Joe Kent for Congress meeting. That was really well attended and really generous of you. You did a beautiful job. And had finance committee, but Holly's spoken about that. And all my other meetings are at the end of the week.
All right. That takes us to executive session. There is none. I'll take a motion to adjourn. Councilor Smith. Adjourn. Is there a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. You're adjourned.